Welcome back. So we're on our uh, last doc for the Iowa listing package. So let's talk about septic systems. So septic systems are definitely a complicated thing, especially over the last 10 years. We had the Iowa State DNR change the way that they do time of transfer septic inspections, and so now we have what they call it's a mandatory time of transfer septic inspection in Iowa. Remember, this is only Iowa. Nebraska and South Dakota still do not have this. Um, and so what they do is they actually make the certified, DNR certified septic inspector go to the property, dig it up, check the tank, check to see if there's a distribution box, check to see if there's an active drain field, and if any of those are bad, then they're going to make you replace the whole entire system. So um, every once in a while, if the tank's okay, they'll let you save the tank and then put in a and then let you put in a drain field. But that's on a rare occasion. So Woodbury County, in particular, um, is extremely difficult when it comes to septic. So how this works is at the listing, notice I made a note at the top, only required if there's a septic system. Um, this is, and remember, this is something we only fill out at the listing is information only. And so this is a 3-page document, and it is actually a 3-stage system for how we have to have these signed. And so what I've got here is page 1. It does one of two things. It either shows the property as exempt. You're showing the property as exempt, and the exempt properties would be similar to, like we talked about in the property disclosure statement, where you have bare ground, property containing 5 or more dwelling units, so up to a 4-plex. You do have to still do this disclosure. Court ordered transfers, foreclosures, lenders selling foreclosed properties. And again, this was the most common when fiduciaries in the course of an administration of a decedent's estate, guardianship, conservatorship, or trust. And remember, it's not just a trust, it's the fiduciaries in an administration of that. So if you have, if you have a family member that's, doing a power of attorney or a fiduciary for them or for somebody while they're in the nursing home or something like that, that will actually end up being exempt. So let's see, intrafamily transfers, divorcing spouses, consideration of $500 or less, and anything that's been inspected within the last 2 years. So if it is exempt, then you sign this document and you turn that in with the listing, and that way you don't end up having to have it inspected and all that. So if it's not exempt, we'll move on to the second section, and again, this is the only part that we will fill out at the listing. And this is where it says, has the septic been inspected by a DNR certified inspector within 2 years or pumped and cleaned within 3? And this is where a lot of times, you say, if it's been inspected, yes. If it hasn't, no, or unknown. If you know when it was inspected, put the date down, or again, it's unknown. And again, if it was pumped and cleaned, that really doesn't mean anything. Just because it was pumped and cleaned, that doesn't mean that it's functioning properly. So, but if it has been, pumped within the last 3 years, put that down. And again, if it was inspected within 2 years, you do not have to do that. So let's say they moved in a year ago, they bought it, moved in a year ago, they had a DNR certified certified inspection, and it passed and everything was okay, and now they're selling again. That is perfectly okay to transfer that again. So, and then again, if it's asking if there's any known problems, fill out that accordingly. Yes. If yes, hey, it backs up all the time, or no, you can put that down. And then the general location of the system. So is it south of home? Is it north of home? Is it, out the back door? Just give a general idea of where the property is, and or where the septic is, and if they know or if they know the age of it, if it was put in 1975, put 1975 in there. And again, so remember, you only fill out page 1 at the listing, and no signatures are required at that time until an offer is made. So now let's say, so this will sit in the listing file. You turn it in, it gets goes through compliance, everything's fine. It gets scanned and put onto the MLS. So the MLS, so the buyers know what they're, kind of what they're looking at as far as septics go, and then also the buyer's agent will be able to print this off and use this when he submits an offer. So then, when an offer comes in, page 2 is filled out by the buyer's agent at the offer. So the buyers and sellers agree to have the septic system inspected by a certified DNR inspector. Such inspection will be paid for by, and then this is where, and this is negotiable. However, it's usually a seller expense. However, each deal is different, and it could be a buyer expense, could be a seller expense, or you could agree to split it 50-50. It just really depends on if the house is being sold as is or whatever. And so, you can put 50-50 on here or whatever. And then also completed within so many days of the execution of this addendum, and no later than this. And so, and at that time, the buyer will initial this, and then the buyer will sign down here. Now, when this offer is submitted and the negotiations are done, the seller will sign this as well. They'll initial this side, they'll sign this down at the bottom, and then you'll proceed to page 3, which is filled out after the inspection. So it just says the inspection is made, and then it says buyers and sellers agree to such renovations, repair, replacement of the septic system, name of contractor, provider, such and such, whoever that may be. And then any renovation, repair, replacement shall be the responsibility paid for by the buyer, the seller, or a mutually agreed amount. Again, normally it's a buyer's expense, or a seller's expense, because it is a seller's issue. However, a seller may not have any money, and it may be part of the deal where the buyer got a good deal on the property and he's willing to put it in, and so that's where that goes. And then once that is all done and negotiated, then buyers and sellers sign page 3, and then that makes that a complete 100% complete inspection and repair addendum. So septics are definitely, they will give you gray hair. They have given me a lot of gray hair, especially within the last 10 years since they changed the inspection requirements. So again, I teach a whole separate class specifically on septics, so we'll talk about that one at a later date, but at least you know how to fill out the form, and you understand, again, it's a 3-stage process. Page 1 at the listing, page 2 at the offer, and page 3 after the inspection. So good luck on that, and again, call me with any questions that you have at any point in time. Have a good day.